The silver ships appeared silently in the cloudy Seoul sky, their metallic surfaces reflecting the morning sunlight. Haejun leaned against his apartment balcony railing, feeling the cool autumn breeze on his face. His loyal German shepherd Max sat alertly beside him, ears perked forward as he watched the alien vessels with intense focus. News channels worldwide had been buzzing for weeks about the approaching Doran Empire ships. Scientists and politicians had promised this would be humanity's greatest moment. First contact with an advanced alien civilization. Haejun had his doubts, especially after spending 20 years reading people's intentions as a military K-9 handler. Max let out a low growl as one of the ships descended toward the specially prepared landing zone in Seoul Olympic Park. Haejun scratched behind his dog's ears to calm him. "I know, boy. Something doesn't feel right about them." The landing site was surrounded by a mix of military personnel, scientific experts, and government officials from around the world. Police dog teams patrolled the perimeter, their handlers keeping them at a safe distance from where the alien ship would touch down. Haejun watched through his binoculars as the massive vessel settled onto the ground with barely a sound. For several tense minutes, nothing happened. Then, with a soft hiss, a doorway appeared in the ship's smooth surface. The assembled crowd held their breath as tall, crystalline figures emerged. The aliens moved with fluid grace, their transparent bodies catching and refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. Their leader, who introduced himself as Chief Scientist Rin, stood nearly 8 feet tall. His crystalline form shifted colors as he spoke, a translator device converting his musical tones into human languages. Haejun noticed how the alien's gaze swept dismissively over the assembled humans. "We have studied your world for some time," Rin announced, his translator making the words sound artificial and cold. "Your technological development is adequate, though primitive by our standards." One of the police dogs barked, drawing Rin's attention. The alien's form flickered with what seemed like amusement as he watched the K-9 unit doing their job. "Fascinating," he said, his tone dripping with condescension. "Your species keeps primitive emotional support creatures. How quaint." The other aliens made strange clicking sounds that their translators didn't bother to convert. Haejun didn't need a translation to recognize laughter when he heard it. Beside him, Max's fur bristled slightly. Dr. Park, the head of South Korea's Xenobiology Department, stepped forward. "Our animal companions are far more than emotional support," she tried to explain. "Dogs especially have co-evolved with humans for thousands of years. They're partners in everything from law enforcement to medical detection too." "Yes, yes," Rin interrupted, waving a crystalline appendage dismissively. "We've observed this curious dependency. It's one of the reasons we've classified Earth as a curiosity planet in our database. Most advanced species outgrow the need for lesser creatures once they develop proper technological solutions." Haejun felt his jaw tighten as he watched through his binoculars. 20 years of working with military dogs had taught him just how incredible these animals could be. He'd seen Max and other dogs accomplish things that no technology could match, saving countless lives in the process. The aliens moved through the crowd, scanning everything with small devices that emitted soft purple lights. They barely acknowledged the human scientists trying to engage them in discussion. When one of them passed near a K-9 unit, the dog began barking urgently. Instead of showing concern, the aliens simply added notes to their devices. As expected, Rin announced to his team, "The lesser creatures can sense our energy signatures. It's a primitive defensive response, nothing more. Make sure to document it for the Xenobiology Department's report on underdeveloped worlds." From his balcony viewpoint, Haejun watched as more alien ships began landing in cities across the globe. News feeds showed similar scenes playing out everywhere. The same condescending attitudes, the same dismissal of Earth's achievements, and especially the same mocking attitude toward humanity's animal companions. Max suddenly stood up, his posture rigid and alert. He stared intently at the alien ships, giving the low growl that Haejun recognized from their military days. The one that meant real trouble, not just uncertainty. The retired handler had learned to trust his dog's instincts implicitly. "What do you sense, boy?" He-Jun asked quietly, watching as Max's eyes tracked something invisible around the alien ships. The dog's behavior reminded him of how Max used to act when detecting hidden explosives or camouflage threats during their deployment. The rest of the day brought more alien delegations, more condescending assessments, and more dismissive classification of Earth's culture and achievements. The Doran Empire representatives made it clear they considered humanity to be barely worth their attention. A primitive species still dependent on animal companions for basic functions. As night fell over Seoul, He-Jun sat in his apartment reviewing news footage from around the world. Max lay at his feet but wouldn't settle down, continuously getting up to pace and stare out the window at the alien ships hovering in the distance. The dog's unusual behavior made He-Jun increasingly uneasy. "They think you're just a simple animal," he told Max, reaching down to rub the shepherd's head. "But we know better, don't we? 20 years in the service taught me that dogs see things humans never could. And right now, you're seeing something about our visitors that everyone else is missing." Looking out at the alien ships glowing softly in the night sky, He-Jun couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's momentous occasion was about to become something very different. The Doran Empire had dismissed Earth's greatest allies as mere pets, and that, he suspected, might turn out to be their biggest mistake. A week after the Doran Empire's arrival, He-Jun stood in the training grounds of the old military K-9 facility. The morning air was crisp, and Max moved smoothly through the obstacle course they'd run hundreds of times before. Today, however, they had an unusual audience. Jae-Yun, a junior scientist from the Doran research team, watched with obvious fascination. Unlike her crystalline colleagues, her form shifted to softer blues and greens that seemed to indicate genuine interest. She held up a scanning device, its purple light following Max's movements. "These readings are remarkable," Jae-Yun said, her translator making her voice sound almost musical. "The neural patterns between you and the animal, the dog, they show synchronized responses I've never seen before." He-Jun smiled as Max completed the course perfectly, then came to sit at attention by his side. "That's because Max isn't just following commands. He's working with me. We trust each other." "I don't understand," Jae-Yun admitted, moving closer to examine Max. Unlike with the other aliens, Max remained calm, even wagging his tail slightly. "Your neural patterns show genuine emotional connection to this creature. It's not just trained responses. How is this possible?" "That's because it isn't just training," He-Jun explained, scratching Max behind the ears. The shepherd leaned into his touch, clearly enjoying the attention. "Dogs have been our companions for thousands of years. They understand us in ways even we don't fully grasp." Across the training ground, Dr. Rin and his senior research team were conducting their own observations. Their crystalline forms flickered with what He-Jun had learned to recognize as dismissive amusement. They barely glanced at the demonstrations of search and rescue work, explosive detection, and other complex tasks that the facility's dogs performed. "Primitive tools," Rin declared loudly, making notes in his device. "The humans use these creatures as biological sensors because they lack proper technological solutions. It's a clear sign of their developmental delays." He-Jun felt his temper rise, but kept his voice calm. "Max has saved more lives than I can count. During our service, he found hidden explosives that no technology could detect. He's tracked missing people through storms that grounded all our search devices. That's not just being a tool, that's being a partner." Jae-Yun moved her scanner closer to Max, her form shifting to a curious yellow tone. "The dog's brain activity is far more complex than our initial studies suggested. There are pattern recognition capabilities here that—" She trailed off as Dr. Rin approached. "Jae-Yun, you're wasting valuable research time," Rin said sharply. "The Council needs our report on Earth's technological capabilities, not observations about their primitive companions." "But sir," Jai-yun protested. There's something remarkable about the way these creatures interact with humans. The emotional bonds create enhanced cognitive. Enough. Rin's form flickered to a harsh red. Your fascination with lesser species is becoming problematic. Return to the ship and analyze the industrial data we collected. Jai-yun's form dimmed to a sad blue, but she obeyed. Before leaving, she turned to Hejun. Thank you for showing me. There's more here than my colleagues understand. After she left, Hejun ran Max through more exercises, aware that Dr. Rin and his team were still watching and taking notes. The shepherd performed flawlessly, demonstrating the incredible intelligence and dedication that had made dogs humanity's closest allies for millennia. Look at how dependent they are on simple animal behavior, one of Rin's assistants commented. They haven't even developed basic automated security systems to replace these creatures. We have those systems, Hejun called out, his patience wearing thin. We choose to work with dogs because they can do things technology can't. They have intelligence, intuition, and loyalty that no machine can match. Dr. Rin's form flickered with what might have been pity. Your emotional attachment to these beings blinds you to your own species' limitations. The Galactic Council will be very interested in our analysis of this dependency. Hejun watched as the alien scientists filed their reports, knowing they were painting humanity as primitive sentients barely worth studying. Their arrogance was frustrating, but something about it made him uneasy. Max seemed to share his concern, staying alert and watching the aliens with unusual intensity. Later that evening, as Hejun reviewed training videos in his office, he noticed something odd. Every time the aliens used their scanning devices, Max's behavior changed slightly. The changes were subtle, the kind of thing only someone who had worked with dogs for decades would notice, but they reminded him of how Max used to react to hidden threats during their military service. What do you sense, boy? Hejun asked quietly, watching Max stare out the window at the alien ships hovering over Seoul. What are they hiding behind all that arrogance? The shepherd turned to look at him, and Hejun saw the same alertness he'd seen in war zones. Whatever was really going on with the Doran Empire, Hejun was becoming certain that their dismissal of Earth's dogs was more than just cultural arrogance. They were missing, or ignoring, something important about the bond between humans and their oldest friends. As night fell, the alien ships glowed with their strange internal light, and Hejun couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's primitive emotional support creatures might turn out to be far more important than anyone suspected. Beside him, Max continued his alert watch, ready as always to protect his human partner from whatever threats might come. 2 months after the Doran Empire's arrival, the facade of peaceful scientific observation began to crack. Hejun had been called back to active duty a week earlier, when military intelligence noticed strange patterns in alien ship movements. Now he sat in Seoul's underground command center, Max lying quietly at his feet as they monitored communications. The quiet morning shattered when Yumho, a junior intelligence officer, burst through the doors. His face was pale, and he was breathing hard from running. The Doran ships are moving. They're not just observers. They're an invasion force. The command center erupted into activity. General Park strode to the main tactical display. His face grim as red dots appeared across the global map. Hejun felt his stomach tighten as he watched alien vessels taking up attack positions over major cities worldwide. They're using some kind of advanced stealth technology, the radar operator reported, frustration clear in her voice. Our best sensors can barely track them. 1 minute they're there, then they just vanish. Hejun noticed Max's behavior changing. The German shepherd was on his feet, ears perked forward, nose working overtime. It was the same behavior he'd shown during their military days when detecting hidden explosives or camouflaged enemies. Somehow, his dog could sense what billions of dollars of military equipment couldn't. Sir, Hejun called to General Park. I think Max is detecting something about their stealth systems. The general turned, skepticism clear on his face. But before he could respond, the main screen lit up with emergency signals. Doran ships were appearing and disappearing across Seoul's airspace, moving into what were clearly assault formations. All their research was just cover, Young-ho said, passing out tactical updates. They were mapping our defenses, learning our weaknesses. Those dismissive attitudes about humanity were just an act. Max suddenly pulled toward the eastern wall of the command center, growling softly. He-jun had learned to trust that growl. It meant real danger, not just uncertainty. Moments later, alarms blared as sensors briefly detected a Doran ship directly above that section of the base. "They're right on top of us," General Park said grimly. "And we can barely see them. How are we supposed to fight an enemy we can't even track?" He-jun watched Max closely. The shepherd's behavior was consistent and focused, exactly like when he tracked hidden threats in the field. "Sir, I have an idea. Max isn't just reacting randomly. He's tracking something specific about their ships." The general's skepticism faded as he watched Max move purposefully around the room, clearly following something invisible to human senses. "Explain." "Dogs have sensory capabilities far beyond our own," He-jun said, following Max's movements. "They can detect subtle changes in air pressure, minute chemical traces, even slight electromagnetic variations. Whatever stealth technology the Doran ships are using, it doesn't mask everything." As if to prove his point, Max stopped and pointed, his whole body rigid with alert focus. Seconds later, the sensors briefly picked up another Doran ship exactly where the dog was looking before it vanished again. "It's not just Max," Young-ho added, checking reports from around the city. "Police dogs, military K9 units, even civilian dogs are all reacting to the ship's movements. Their handlers are reporting consistent patterns of behavior." General Park studied the tactical display, watching more Doran ships moving into position. "The aliens dismissed our dogs as primitive emotional support animals," he said slowly. "But what if that's exactly why their stealth technology doesn't account for them? They never considered them a threat worth hiding from." He-jun felt a surge of hope. The Doran Empire's arrogance might have created a critical weakness in their invasion plans. They had spent months mocking humanity's bond with dogs, never realizing they were revealing themselves to Earth's most loyal defenders. "We need to mobilize every available working dog and handler," He-jun said. "Police, military, search and rescue. Anyone with a trained dog. If they can detect the ships consistently, we might have a fighting chance." The command center filled with urgent activity as new orders went out. Across Seoul, K9 units were being redirected to strategic positions. Max continued his alert monitoring, helping to track Doran ship movements around the base. "They thought our connection to dogs was a weakness," Young-ho said, watching Max work. "But they never understood what that connection really means." He-jun nodded, feeling the familiar partnership with Max that had gotten them through so many dangerous situations. The Doran Empire had spent months studying Earth's technology, while dismissing its greatest allies as simple pets. Now those primitive emotional support creatures might be humanity's best hope for survival. Outside the command center, the morning sun disappeared behind the cloaked shapes of gathering alien ships. Earth's first interstellar war was about to begin, and its opening moves would depend not on advanced technology, but on the extraordinary bond between humans and their oldest friends. Max stood ready beside He-jun, alert and focused as always. Whatever the Doran Empire was planning, they were about to learn that underestimating Earth's dogs had been their first and possibly greatest mistake. 3 days into the Doran Empire's positioning, He-jun stood before General Song in the hastily converted football stadium. The massive space now served as a testing ground for what might be humanity's best defense against the alien threat. Around them, dozens of dogs and their handlers worked through various detection exercises. "The dogs can detect them," He-jun explained, watching Max work through another practice run. "Their cloaking technology doesn't mask certain frequencies that dogs can perceive. Max can track their movements perfectly." General Song frowned, his weathered face showing the strain of sleepless nights. "You're telling me our most advanced sensor technology is being outperformed by dogs?" As if answering the question, Max suddenly stopped and pointed, his body rigid with concentration. Moments later, the testing team confirmed the presence of a hidden piece of alien technology in exactly that spot. Technology their sensors had completely missed. "It's not just Max," He-Jun continued, pulling up data on his tablet. "Every trained dog we've tested shows the same ability. Police dogs, search and rescue teams, military K9 units, they can all detect the alien signatures. The Doran Empire never thought to hide from them." Around the stadium, other handlers were running similar tests. German Shepherds, Belgian Malinois, Labrador Retrievers, and other working breeds consistently located hidden alien devices. The success rate was far beyond statistical chance. "Show me again," General Song ordered, his skepticism fading as he watched the demonstrations. He-Jun led Max to the starting position. The testing team had hidden several pieces of recovered alien technology throughout the stadium. These fragments had been salvaged from minor skirmishes when a few Doran scouts had been caught off guard. Max moved with purpose, his training taking over as he methodically searched the area. Within minutes, he had located all 5 hidden pieces. The sensors being tested nearby only detected 2 of them. "Their arrogance is their weakness," He-Jun explained. "They spent so much time mocking our relationship with dogs that they never considered them a threat. Their stealth technology is designed to fool our machines, not millions of years of evolved sensory abilities." The stadium's screens displayed similar results from testing sites around the world. In every location, dogs were proving remarkably accurate at detecting cloaked alien technology. What's more, they could track the subtle traces left behind by Doran ships, creating a map of their movements. "The aliens think we're primitive for relying on animals," one of the scientists added, reviewing the data. "But they don't understand that dog senses work in ways completely different from our technology. They're not just detecting sounds or smells. They're picking up on complex combinations of signals that our instruments can't even measure yet." General Song watched as another group of dogs successfully completed their tests. His expression had changed from doubt to focused determination. "Gather every available working dog and handler," he ordered. "We need to form specialized detection units immediately." The order went out worldwide. Police departments, military bases, search and rescue teams, and even qualified civilian handlers were called up. Dogs that had spent their lives finding drugs, explosives, or missing people were now being trained to detect alien signatures. He-Jun worked with the training teams, using Max to help demonstrate the specific behaviors that indicated alien detection. The Shepherd's experience proved invaluable as they developed new protocols for this unprecedented threat. "The key is trusting their instincts," he explained to a group of handlers. "These dogs aren't just following training. They're using abilities we don't fully understand to detect things we can't even see. Our job is to support them and interpret what they're telling us." As the day progressed, more success stories poured in. Dogs were detecting hidden Doran observation posts that had evaded all other detection methods. They were mapping paths of cloaked ships, giving human forces their first real intelligence about alien movements. "They thought we were weak for having animal companions," Young Ho said, joining He-Jun during a break. "But they never understood that it's not about dependency. It's about partnership. Humans and dogs working together can do things neither species could do alone." Max rested his head on He-Jun's leg, taking a well-deserved break from training. The shepherd had worked tirelessly, helping to establish the detection patterns that other dogs were now learning to recognize. "We're not ready yet," General Song said, reviewing the day's results. "But for the first time since we confirmed their invasion plans, we have a real chance. The Doran Empire thinks they're facing a primitive species with simple animal companions. Instead, they're about to face the combined strength of humanity's oldest and most trusted allies." As night fell over the stadium, the training continued under floodlights. Time was critical. Everyone knew the invasion could begin any day. But with each successful detection, with each new dog team that mastered the alien signatures, Earth's defenders grew more confident. Hajun watched Max demonstrate another detection pattern for a new group of handlers. The shepherd moved with the same dedication he'd shown throughout their military career, but now he was helping to protect not just his human partner, but the entire planet. The Doran Empire's greatest mistake wasn't underestimating humanity's technology. It was failing to understand the true power of the bond between humans and dogs. That bond, forged over thousands of years of friendship and cooperation, was about to become the cornerstone of Earth's defense against its first alien invasion. The Busan Global K-9 Training Center hummed with constant activity as Mireille coordinated operations from her command post. Hundreds of dogs and their handlers moved through the sprawling coastal facility, each team learning to detect and respond to alien technology. The salty ocean breeze carried the sounds of barking and training commands in dozens of languages. Team 7 has confirmed another detection pattern, Mireille announced, updating the global database. On her screens, results poured in from similar facilities worldwide. The dogs are now identifying specific types of Doran technology by their unique signatures. Hajun and Max had arrived the day before to help streamline the training protocols. The experienced handler watched with pride as his shepherd demonstrated detection patterns to a new group of teams. Dogs that had once searched for drugs or explosives were now learning to track alien energy signatures. The Doran ships leave trace elements we can't detect, Hajun explained to the assembled handlers. But the dogs pick up on them instantly. It's similar to how they track scents, but they're sensing something more complex. Unknown to the Earth defenders, Doran spy drones hovered high above the facility, their stealth systems making them invisible to human technology. The crystalline beings monitored the training with growing amusement, sending regular reports back to their war council. They're mobilizing their emotional support animals. The Doran War Council erupted in laughter when they received the latest intelligence. Let them. It will make no difference. But their mockery was premature. At that very moment, a Belgian Malinois named Storm was leading his handler to a previously undiscovered Doran observation post hidden in the mountains above Busan. Similar scenes played out across the globe as more dogs successfully identified alien weak points and infiltration attempts. They still don't understand what they're facing, Mireille said, marking another successful detection on her map. Every time they laugh at our primitive methods, they reveal more of their own blindness. The training facility had been divided into specialized zones. In one area, dogs learned to distinguish between different types of alien technology. In another, they practiced tracking the fading traces left by cloaked Doran ships. The most advanced teams were learning to identify potential weaknesses in alien equipment. Max had become something of a celebrity among the handlers. His natural ability to detect alien signatures made him the perfect demonstration dog. Other teams studied his reactions, learning to recognize the subtle changes in behavior that indicated different types of alien presence. Watch how he distinguishes between their propulsion signatures and their weapon systems, Hajun pointed out during a training session. Different head positions, different tail movements. He's creating a whole new language to tell us what he finds. Mireille's computer chimed with another update. A search and rescue dog in Brazil had led its handler to a hidden cache of Doran surveillance equipment. In Canada, a police K-9 unit had tracked the path of a cloaked alien scout ship. Each success added to their growing understanding of their enemy's movements. The Earth's best friends are becoming its best defense, Hajun said quietly to Max as they took a break between sessions. The shepherd's alert eyes constantly scanned their surroundings, his new skills never fully at rest. The Doran Empire's spies continued to report back with dismissive amusement. Their war council remained convinced that no primitive biological sensors could possibly threaten their advanced technology. This overconfidence was exactly what Earth's defenders were counting on. They think we're training dogs to be tools, Mireille explained during the evening briefing. They don't understand that we're creating partnerships. Each team learns and adapts together, becoming more effective than any fixed detection system. As night fell over Busan, the training continued under powerful lights. Time was precious. Intelligence suggested the Doran invasion could begin any day. But with each passing hour, Earth's canine defenders grew more skilled at detecting and tracking their hidden enemy. In the darkness, Max suddenly alerted, pointing toward the sky. He-jun recognized the behavior. There was a cloaked Doran ship passing overhead. Around the facility, other dogs showed similar reactions, their enhanced senses tracking the invisible vessel's movement perfectly. "Send word to command," Mayray ordered, watching the pattern of dog reactions create a clear path across her tactical display. Another patrol route mapped. "They think they're invisible, but they're teaching us exactly how they plan to attack." The night shift handlers moved their dogs into position, continuing the endless cycle of training and detection. Above them, the Doran spies recorded everything, never realizing that their presence was as clear as day to the creatures they considered beneath their notice. He-jun watched Max work with the night training team, the shepherd's dedication unwavering despite the late hour. Every successful detection, every new pattern identified, brought Earth's defense network closer to completion. The Doran Empire's greatest weakness was their inability to understand that humanity's relationship with dogs wasn't a sign of primitiveness. It was the key to their survival. He-jun and Max had arrived the day before to help streamline the training protocols. The experienced handler watched with pride as his shepherd demonstrated detection patterns to a new group of teams. Dogs that had once searched for drugs or explosives were now learning to track alien energy signatures. "The Doran ships leave trace elements we can't detect," He-jun explained to the assembled handlers. "But the dogs pick up on them instantly. It's similar to how they track scents, but they're sensing something more complex." Unknown to the Earth defenders, Doran spy drones hovered high above the facility, their stealth systems making them invisible to human technology. The crystalline beings monitored the training with growing amusement, sending regular reports back to their war council. They're mobilizing their emotional support animals. The Doran War Council erupted in laughter when they received the latest intelligence. "Let them. It will make no difference." But their mockery was premature. At that very moment, a Belgian Malinois named Storm was leading his handler to a previously undiscovered Doran observation post hidden in the mountains above Busan. Similar scenes played out across the globe as more dogs successfully identified alien weak points and infiltration attempts. "They still don't understand what they're facing," Mayray said, marking another successful detection on her map. "Every time they laugh at our primitive methods, they reveal more of their own blindness." The training facility had been divided into specialized zones. In one area, dogs learned to distinguish between different types of alien technology. In another, they practiced tracking the fading traces left by cloaked Doran ships. The most advanced teams were learning to identify potential weaknesses in alien equipment. Max had become something of a celebrity among the handlers. His natural ability to detect alien signatures made him the perfect demonstration dog. Other teams studied his reactions, learning to recognize the subtle changes in behavior that indicated different types of alien presence. "Watch how he distinguishes between their propulsion signatures and their weapon systems," He-jun pointed out during a training session. "Different head positions, different tail movements. He's creating a whole new language to tell us what he finds." Mayray's computer chimed with another update. A search and rescue dog in Brazil had led its handler to a hidden cache of Doran surveillance equipment. In Canada, a police K-9 unit had tracked the path of a cloaked alien scout ship. Each success added to their growing understanding of their enemy's movements. "The Earth's best friends are becoming its best defense," He-jun said quietly to Max as they took a break between sessions. The shepherd's alert eyes constantly scanned their surroundings, his new skills never fully at rest. The Doran Empire's spies continued to report back with dismissive amusement. Their war council remained convinced that no primitive biological sensors could possibly threaten their advanced technology. This overconfidence was exactly what Earth's defenders were counting on. They think we're training dogs to be tools, Myray explained during the evening briefing. They don't understand that we're creating partnerships. Each team learns and adapts together, becoming more effective than any fixed detection system. As night fell over Busan, the training continued under powerful lights. Time was precious. Intelligence suggested the Doran invasion could begin any day. But with each passing hour, Earth's canine defenders grew more skilled at detecting and tracking their hidden enemy. In the darkness, Max suddenly alerted, pointing toward the sky. He-jun recognized the behavior. There was a cloaked Doran ship passing overhead. Around the facility, other dogs showed similar reactions, their enhanced senses tracking the invisible vessel's movement perfectly. "Send word to command," Myray ordered, watching the pattern of dog reactions create a clear path across her tactical display. Another patrol route mapped. They think they're invisible, but they're teaching us exactly how they plan to attack. The night shift handlers moved their dogs into position, continuing the endless cycle of training and detection. Above them, the Doran spies recorded everything, never realizing that their presence was as clear as day to the creatures they considered beneath their notice. He-jun watched Max work with the night training team, the shepherd's dedication unwavering despite the late hour. Every successful detection, every new pattern identified, brought Earth's defense network closer to completion. The Doran Empire's greatest weakness was their inability to understand that humanity's relationship with dogs wasn't a sign of primitiveness. It was the key to their survival. "They'll learn soon enough," Myray said, marking another successful detection on her map. "But by then, it will be too late. The bond they mocked will be the force that defeats them." The invasion began at dawn on a quiet Tuesday morning. Doran ships shimmered into view above major cities worldwide, their crystalline surfaces catching the first rays of sunlight. They expected a swift, crushing victory over what they considered a primitive species. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that had spent months preparing for exactly this moment. He-jun and Max waited in their forward position near Seoul, part of a global network of K9 detection teams. The shepherd's ears perked up seconds before the first alarm sounded. Around them, other dogs began alerting to the presence of cloaked Doran ships, moving into attack formation. "All teams, execute Operation Watchdog." General Song's voice crackled over the secure channel. "K9 units have command priority. Follow their leads." Max moved with purpose, guiding He-jun's team through the pre-dawn streets. The shepherd tracked an invisible trail that led them directly to a cloaked Doran command center, hidden in an abandoned office building. Similar scenes played out globally as dog teams located and exposed alien positions, allowing human forces to strike precisely at their vulnerabilities. "Strike Team Alpha, move in on Max's position," He-jun radioed, watching his dog indicate specific points around the building. "The primary control center is on the 3rd floor, northwest corner. Secondary systems in the basement." The Doran Empire's carefully planned surprise attack was unraveling. Their stealth technology, which had hidden them from Earth's most advanced sensors, proved useless against the enhanced senses of thousands of trained dogs. Every move they made was tracked, every hidden position exposed. "Impossible." Dr. Rin's voice crackled with rage as reports of detection flooded in. "They're using primitive animals to counter our supreme technology. This cannot be." In New York, a police K9 unit located a cloaked alien weapons platform before it could power up. In London, military dogs led special forces teams to underground Doran staging areas. Across Tokyo, search and rescue dogs tracked the movement patterns of stealth fighters, allowing Earth's air defenses to target the invisible ships. Max suddenly tensed, his behavior signaling the approach of hostile forces. Moments later, a squad of crystalline soldiers attempted to flank He-jun's position. The shepherd's warning gave them precious seconds to take cover as alien energy weapons lit up the morning sky. "They still don't understand," He-jun said to his team as they returned fire. "They think the dogs are just following training. They don't realize this is about partnership, about trust built over thousands of years. The battle for Seoul intensified as more Doran ships descended, but each new alien unit found itself quickly exposed by the network of K-9 detection teams. The invaders' sophisticated battle plans fell apart as they lost the advantage of surprise and stealth. Fall back to secondary positions. A Doran commander's transmission was intercepted. Their primitive creatures are compromising our tactical superiority. How is this possible? Max led Hojun's team through the chaos, tracking the alien leaders as they retreated to their hidden command center. The shepherd moved with the same focused determination he'd shown during their military service, but now he was helping to save not just his unit, but all of humanity. Security breach. Dr. Rin's voice echoed through the building as Max guided the strike team to his laboratory. The animals are inside our perimeter. This defies all logical. His words cut off as Max cornered him among his research equipment. The crystalline scientist's form flickered with disbelief as he found himself face to face with one of the primitive emotional support creatures he had spent months mocking. Impossible. Dr. Rin screamed, backing away from the advancing shepherd. They're just animals. Simple biological entities. They cannot defeat our superior technology. Hojun moved up beside his partner, weapon trained on the alien scientist. You never understood, did you? Dogs aren't just animals to us. They're family, partners, friends, and you made the mistake of underestimating that bond. Around the world, the pattern repeated. The Doran Empire's invasion force found itself constantly exposed, their positions revealed by the very creatures they had dismissed as irrelevant. Their technological superiority meant nothing against an enemy that could track their every movement. All teams report success. Myre's voice came over the comm from the Bizen Command Center. K-9 units have located and neutralized 80% of enemy command and control centers. The Doran fleet is losing coordination. Max stood alert beside Hojun as they secured Dr. Rin and his laboratory. The shepherd's keen senses had already detected several hidden pieces of alien technology that the human soldiers might have missed. Each discovery further proved how badly the Doran Empire had misjudged Earth's defenders. The battle was far from over, but the invasion's first hours had gone nothing like the aliens planned. Their supreme confidence in their technology had blinded them to the true strength of the species they sought to conquer. Not its machines, but the unbreakable bond between humans and their oldest friends. "Good boy, Max," Hejun said quietly as reinforcements arrived to secure the command center. "They never saw you coming, did they?" The shepherd wagged his tail once, then returned to his alert posture. There were more aliens to find, more battles to win. Earth's best friends had become its most effective defenders, and they were just getting started. The war that was supposed to mark humanity's defeat instead ended in just 3 weeks. The Doran Empire's vaunted technological superiority crumbled in the face of an enemy that could detect their every move. Their final surrender came not with a bang, but with quiet humility in Seoul's Olympic Park, the very place where they had first arrived with such arrogance. Max sat proudly beside Hejun during the ceremony, his posture as alert as ever. The shepherd's military decorations gleamed on his service vest, marking him as one of Earth's greatest heroes. Around them, other decorated dogs and their handlers stood at attention, representing K-9 units from every corner of the globe. "We, the Doran Empire, hereby acknowledge our complete surrender to the forces of Earth," the crystalline leader announced, his form dimmed with defeat. "Our error in judgment was profound and costly." The Galactic Council had sent representatives to witness the historic moment. They watched with evident fascination as Max maintained his professional bearing throughout the ceremony, occasionally scanning the surroundings out of habit. "We acknowledge our error," the Council's representative stated, their crystalline form shifting through respectful colors. "The bond between humans and their companion species represents a form of advancement we had not previously recognized. It is clear we must reevaluate our understanding of sentience and cooperation." Myre, now Earth's chief liaison to the Galactic Council, stepped forward with a formal document. In recognition of the unprecedented role played by Earth's working dogs in defending our planet, we hereby establish the Interstellar Canine Corps. He-Jun smiled as Max received his formal commission as the first Interstellar Canine Corps commander. The shepherd accepted the new insignia with dignity, though his wagging tail betrayed his happiness at being praised. The same aliens who had once mocked Earth's pets now crowded forward, eager to understand the power of friendship that transcended species. Jai-Yun, who had first recognized the special bond between humans and dogs, had been appointed to lead a new Galactic Council research initiative on interspecies cooperation. "We were blind," she admitted to He-Jun after the ceremony. "We thought advancement meant moving beyond biological connections. Instead, you showed us that true progress lies in strengthening those bonds." Around the world, celebrations marked Earth's victory and its new status in the galactic community. Videos of working dogs and their handlers played on massive screens, showing how their teamwork had overcome the alien invasion. The sight of Max leading the first successful counterattack had become an iconic image of the war. The Doran Empire's greatest weakness was their arrogance, General Song said during his victory speech. They saw our relationship with dogs as primitive. They'd never understood that this bond, forged over thousands of years, represented something their technology could never match. He-Jun watched as Max interacted with curious alien scientists, who now studied the shepherd with respect rather than condescension. Their instruments recorded the complex neural patterns that showed the deep connection between human and dog. "Your species has much to teach us," one alien researcher admitted. "We thought we had advanced beyond the need for such connections. Now we see that we had actually fallen behind." The establishment of the Interstellar Canine Corps marked a new chapter in human history. Working dogs would now play a vital role in humanity's expansion into space, their unique abilities proving invaluable in detecting alien technologies and environmental hazards. "They thought we were weak for having animal companions," Mei Ray remarked, watching Max demonstrate his detection abilities for the alien observers. "Instead, that very bond made us strong enough to defeat an empire." As Earth took its place among the galactic community, everyone knew that humanity's best friends had helped save not just their planet, but their dignity as a species. The dogs who had once been dismissed as mere pets were now respected throughout the galaxy as crucial partners in humanity's advancement. Max, for his part, seemed unconcerned with his newfound fame. He continued his duties with the same dedication he'd always shown, whether training new K-9 teams or helping to develop protocols for space-based operations. To him, the praise and recognition meant far less than the simple joy of working alongside his human partner. "Ready for our next mission, boy?" He-Jun asked as they prepared to board Earth's first joint human-canine space training vessel. Max just wagged his tail, happy to have done his job, and ready for whatever adventure came next. The shepherd knew, as dogs always had, that the greatest reward wasn't in medals or ceremonies, but in the unbreakable bond between humans and their oldest, most faithful friends. The stars awaited them now, and humanity would face whatever challenges lay ahead the same way they had defeated the Doran Empire, together with their loyal companions, united by a friendship that had proven stronger than the most advanced alien technology. The end.